You know what? Everything you are used to thinking about ancient Egypt will most likely have to be reconsidered. Entire rivers and ruins of ancient cities are hidden beneath the sands of the Sahara. People lived there 5,000 years before the first pharaoh, long before the appearance of writing, and then they simply vanished. Today we will break everything down in order: where this data came from, what exactly was found, and why this could overturn our understanding of history. To begin with, here is a fact that no one disputes. 11,000 years ago, the Sahara was green. Rivers, lakes, and savanna stretched all around. Giraffes and crocodiles lived where endless sand now extends. Geologists call this the African humid period. It lasted for 6,000 years, longer than the entire history of ancient Egypt, from the first pharaoh to the last. In the 1980s, NASA launched radar satellites over Africa. Beneath the layer of sand, they saw massive riverbeds, hundreds of kilometers long, that had dried up thousands of years ago. People lived in this green paradise, fishing, hunting, and building boats. This was no primitive Stone Age. Their drawings still remain on rocks across the Sahara today. Giraffes, elephants, people in boats, and fishing scenes, right where it is now impossible to breathe because of the heat. Looking at these drawings, it feels as if someone reached out across 10,000 years. There they are. They were here, living life to the fullest. In 1974, geologists in the Egyptian desert accidentally stumbled upon huge stones protruding from the sand in circles. Clearly, this was the work of human hands. It turned out that this stone circle is 2,000 years older than Stonehenge. It was built long before the future Egyptians. The stones are aligned precisely with the stars, forming a real observatory. The creators were serious about astronomy. The place is called Nabta Playa. Nearby, they found cattle bones, pottery, and traces of dwellings. A whole nation lived here, with its own traditions and rituals.
But Nabta Playa isn't even the strangest part. In that same Egyptian desert lies Wadi al-Hitan, the Valley of the Whales, where hundreds of whale skeletons protrude from the sand. This real UNESCO World Heritage Site proves that first there was a sea here, then a savanna, and then a desert. The Sahara lived through all these stages, and people lived here during every single one of them. About 5,500 years ago, everything went downhill. Rain became a rarity, rivers began to run shallow, and the Green Sahara was slowly dying. Within a few centuries, the desert swallowed the rivers, lakes, and pastures. When their entire world was dying, people ran to the east, where there was water and life, to the Nile. People left over generations carrying their knowledge, rituals, and ability to navigate by the stars. About 5,000 years ago, the Egyptian civilization suddenly appeared on the banks of the Nile. Immediately, abruptly, without any warm-up. Historians have long wondered why Egypt emerged out of nowhere, already possessing writing, astronomy, and architecture. The answer is simple. They didn't invent it by the Nile. They brought it from the Sahara, where they had been honing these skills for millennia on the banks of rivers that no longer exist. Geneticists studying the DNA of ancient mummies confirmed these people originated from the Sahara. Anthropologists from the University of California spent 30 years excavating Nabta Playa. Their conclusion is clear. The culture, religion, and astronomy of these people are the direct predecessor of pre-dynastic Egypt. The cattle cult, burial rites, and constellation observations all appeared there thousands of years earlier. In the 1,930 seconds, French military personnel in Algeria accidentally stumbled upon thousands of rock frescoes, 8,000 years old. The place is called Tassili Najer.
It contains 3,000 drawings showing hunting, dancing, and rituals, a whole chronicle of a people missing from textbooks. Some figures wear strange, round headgear with protrusions. Scientists still argue whether these are ritual masks or something completely different. Today, Lake Chad is a small body of water that continues to shrink. But 8,000 years ago, an inland sea the size of the Caspian Sea stood in its place. Geologists call it Mega Chad. It sustained millions of people all across the Sahara. The camps of fishermen and farmers from its shores are found all over today's desert, where life used to be buzzing.
In the Libyan desert, thousands of pieces of strange, green-yellow glass lie right on the surface. This glass is 28 million years old, likely the trace of a meteorite impact or an atmospheric blast. Fascinatingly, a piece of this very glass was found in Tutankhamun's pectoral ornament. The pharaoh sent people 800 kilometers into the desert for it, meaning the Egyptians knew the Sahara far deeper than we think. In recent years, radar satellites from ESA, NASA, and private companies have been actively scanning the Sahara. Beneath the sand, distinct geometric structures are visible, straight lines and sharp angles that nature simply cannot create. Yet, there are no official statements. The data and images exist, but there are no press conferences, which speaks volumes. When people tell me that's impossible, I think of Troy. Until 1868, it was considered a figment of Homer's imagination. And then they found it. In 2018, laser scanning in Guatemala revealed 60,000 unexpected Maya structures. First, it's impossible. Then it's, how could we not have known? The Green Sahara is next. The data is open and images are public. But why hasn't there been a single major, well-funded expedition into the Sahara yet? Cities beneath the sand are a question of who came first and who writes the rules of history. It is politics. Whether it's a conspiracy or not, decide for yourself. The discoveries are there, publications are few, and money isn't given. These are facts. This is how academic science works. No excavations means no papers, and no papers means no topic. The Green Sahara has been hanging in this vacuum for 40 years. The same thing happened with Göbekli Tepe. When this 12,000-year-old temple was found in Turkey in the 1990s, academics rejected it as too early, but eventually accepted it. Science is slow, and human history is longer than science can digest. Both Göbekli Tepe and Nabta Playa are around 12,000 years old. Despite 3,000 kilometers between them, they share striking coincidences: cattle symbolism, circular stone layouts, and star orientation. Either this is a fluke or a massive single culture once stretched from the Sahara to Turkey. Sometimes I wonder, what if tomorrow an excavator in the Libyan desert hits stonework? Digging it up could reveal an entire city, rewriting human chronology. Who came first, where civilization was born, and why Egypt was needed to the Sahara protects itself through heat, storms, unstable regimes, and a lack of roads. However, technology like LiDAR is evolving. It previously found 60,000 Maya structures beneath Guatemalan jungles. In the desert, LiDAR works better because sand doesn't scatter the beam, making wall contours appear like an X-ray dot. Several groups have operated LiDAR over the Sahara, but what they saw is not officially discussed. In interviews, participants brush it off with general phrasing, which speaks volumes. Among the Tuareg, a story is passed down about an ancient city sleeping beneath the sand. One must not go there, as it is the land of the ancestors.
In the 1,950 seconds, French researchers tried to find this place. 2 scientists never returned, officially by accident. Bedouins believe that anyone disturbing a sleeping place brings disaster upon themselves. Yet science knows that toxic gases often accumulate in sealed underground cavities. Nature knows how to lock its doors. In 2008, a German geologist opened a small grotto in the Algerian Sahara, finding an 8,000-year-old campfire and pottery shards. The scientist remained silent for 2 years before publishing the data.
For some, this is just an interesting story about the desert. But for me, it's about how poorly we actually know ourselves. Beneath this sand may lie the answers to questions humanity has been asking for millennia. When did civilization begin? Was Egypt the first, or was it an heir to someone else? We studied the pharaohs well because they built in stone. But what came before them was built by rivers that dried up. The sand covered it, but didn't destroy it. Curiously, the climate is changing again. In the northern Sahara, an increase in vegetation is already being recorded, and where grass appears, artifacts begin to emerge. Satellites have been tracking this slow process for about 10 years. The desert is giving back what it took 5,000 years ago. Maybe we don't even need to dig anything up. Maybe the Sahara itself will tell us everything, if we just watch closely. The more data we get, the more often researchers find the exact same things.
In Mesopotamia, Egypt, and the Indus Valley, we see identical symbols, rituals, and astronomical calculations. More scientists are leaning toward a single mother culture that gave birth to these civilizations. They are brothers, not independent. This common origin hypothesis isn't in textbooks yet, but 30 years ago, Göbekli Tepe wasn't either. Recently, expeditions in the Algerian Sahara stumbled upon man-made rectangular foundations spanning several hectares. There is no official announcement yet. Materials have been handed over to institutes in 3 countries for analysis, while the world knows nothing. If confirmed, this will no longer be just a hypothesis. It will be a city beneath the sand, older than Egypt, right in the middle of the Sahara.
Let's be honest. What do we know for certain, and what is still just a theory? For certain, 11,000 years ago, the Sahara was green, as confirmed by geologists, satellites, and geneticists. People with an advanced culture lived there, built observatories, and moved to the Nile when the climate changed, bringing what became the Egyptian civilization. But the theory of entire cities standing beneath the sand remains unproven, though new satellite images make it increasingly convincing. If a city is found, who will it belong to? Local nations or all humankind? History shows that when something valuable is discovered, politicians and the military immediately push scientists aside. Perhaps the silence of science is not a conspiracy, but a form of protection. As long as no one has officially found it, no one can destroy it. The desert protects it better than any museum. For 5,000 years, the desert has been silent. For 5,000 years, all of this has been lying beneath the sand, waiting. Maybe right now, some scientist is looking at a satellite image. They see distinct contours, sharp angles, and they realize this is it. Or perhaps the Green Sahara will remain a mystery forever. The final word of a people whose name we will never know. What do you think? Will they find something major beneath the Sahara in the next 20 years? Let me know in the comments. If this topic hooked you, leave a like. It truly means a lot for the channel. Until next time.